The world changed forever when the Burj Khalifa became the world's first megatall building. The Burj Khalifa's completion in 2010 was a breakthrough moment in history. It was the world's first megatall skyscraper, and it was the first time a livable building had exceeded 600 meters in height. Many speculated that we had entered the era of the megatall, with at least 8 skyscrapers claiming the title by 2020. However, not a single megatall skyscraper surpassed Dubai's finest. Welcome to Modern Luxury, where we explore the high-end stories of today. Before getting into the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to be updated on luxurious topics worldwide. Let's begin. Everyone expected the Burj Khalifa to be dwarfed by another even taller building in a few years, followed by an even bigger one. But after 12 years, no one has come close to dethroning it as the world's tallest structure. In fact, Dubai's main competitor, China, has reversed course and banned the construction of megastructures. But what exactly is going on? Has humanity's desire to build higher and higher into the sky declined? Could this be the end of the ultra-high-rise buildings? The race to construct the world's tallest building is a relatively new trend. The Pyramid of Giza was the world's tallest structure for thousands of years. It remained in this position for 3,800 years with no competition. Then Europe became the world leader in tall building construction, primarily cathedrals. The Lincoln Cathedral in England eclipsed the Pyramid of Giza in 1311, and the Strasbourg Cathedral in France eclipsed it in 1439. For another 400 years, this was the tallest structure in the world. Only after the birth of the skyscraper in the 20th century did the race for the tallest building become more intense. The home insurance building in Chicago, which was completed in 1884, was the world's first skyscraper, and it forever changed our skylines. The Philadelphia City Hall was the tallest building at the turn of the century, with only 9 floors. With the completion of the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur as we approached the millennium, the number was nearly tenfold. The world's tallest building was either New York or Chicago from 1908 to 1998. The race, however, shifted from the West and towards Asia and the Middle East at the turn of the 21st century, and the scale of these structures has reached heights we could never have imagined. The Burj Khalifa has 23 times the number of floors as Philadelphia City Hall, demonstrating how far we've come. While the Burj Khalifa is still the world's tallest building today, it was the world's only megatall building for 2 years. A megatall building is defined as one that stands at least 600 meters tall. The 601-meter-high Makkah Royal Tower in Saudi Arabia was completed in 2012. Shanghai Tower was built 3 years later. Merdeka P&B has recently joined the club of megatall skyscrapers. But why do we construct such tall structures in the first place? Skyscrapers were built for practical reasons at first. The more potential workers or residents you can accommodate, the higher the building. Skyscrapers also help to prevent what is known as urban sprawl. If there isn't enough space to house everyone and facilitate businesses, cities will continue to spread out further into rural areas. A skyscraper can help meet the needs for housing and business on a small piece of land while also reducing the spread. Skyscrapers were more about status and symbolism than anything else. Having the world's largest building was more of a reflection of your country's prosperity and global position than an attempt to meet any housing or office space needs. Buildings in New York were financed by wealthy businessmen and financiers, but governments paid for skyscrapers in the 21st century to make a statement. But first, let's consider the current record holder. According to the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, nearly a third of the Burj Khalifa is unoccupied. It has over 200 stories, but only 160 of them are habitable. The CTBUH coined the term vanity height to describe this. This refers to the building's overall height as well as the actual height of the building's usable space. When the Petronas Towers surpassed the Sears Towers in 1998, the latter's roof was 60 meters lower. In terms of usable space, the Burj Khalifa is only 2 meters taller than the Shanghai Tower. A building with a vanity height of 50% or more is ineligible to be ranked as the world's tallest building, according to the CTBUH, and is more of a tower. To be fair, vanity buildings serve a practical purpose in that they are frequently popular tourist attractions, especially the Burj Khalifa. Despite the fact that the world now has 4 megatall buildings, this number is much lower than expected. The CTBUH published a paper titled Tallest 20 in 2020. In 2012, they predicted how many megatall buildings would be standing in 2020. They predicted at least 8, despite the fact that there were only 3 in 2020. The level of ingenuity required to construct megatall structures is why they are so uncommon. When skyscrapers first began to be constructed, all that was required was a scaled skeletal structure. This became known as the Chicago skeleton, and it was used to construct the home insurance building in the late 1800s. Building in a rectangular shape, however, had its drawbacks. The higher you go in a game of Jenga, the weaker the building becomes. You can't keep building bigger and bigger structures and expect them to withstand strong winds or earthquakes. Engineers needed to reconsider how buildings were constructed. Fazlur Rahman Khan, a Bangladeshi American, came up with the idea that earned him the moniker the Einstein of structural engineering in the mid-20th century. Every floor had tubular steel beams that were connected to horizontal floor beams. These steel beams were far better at absorbing shock and resisting heavy winds, allowing us to build even higher into the sky. Khan went on to design the Sears Tower in Chicago, which became the model for high-rise skyscrapers. Additional tweaks and innovations were made for the megatall buildings category, however. Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, the same architectural firm that Khan worked for, designed the Tower Palace 3 in South Korea in 2004. This structure had a buttressed system with 3 protruding wings and a central column. Because of the hexagonal shape, the weight of each wing is shared by the other 2, and the central wing provides additional support. The Burj Khalifa's Y or hexagonal shape comes from this design, which was later incorporated into the building. The Shanghai Tower is made up of 9 cylindrical buildings that are stacked on top of one another and protected by a glass shell. The Mecca Royal Clock Tower is made up of 7 buildings stacked on top of each other, with the widest at the bottom providing the most support. All of these ingenious systems have served as a blueprint for the construction of even more megatall buildings. So it appears that we have the technology and experience to build even higher structures. But why have there been far fewer megatall structures completed than anticipated? We must first look at China to answer this question. Despite the fact that China only has 1 megatall building, it is home to the majority of the world's tallest structures. The People's Republic of China is home to 10 of the world's 20 tallest buildings as of 2021. In the last 30 years, China has built more skyscrapers than New York did in the previous century. China is widely expected to build the next tallest skyscraper due to its love of skyscrapers. Dubai's 828-meter Burj Khalifa has less than a year left as the world's tallest building, CNN reported in 2013. Changsha's proposed Sky City building was to be 838 meters tall. Construction would only take 90 days, with prefabrication taking 120 days. It's already difficult to keep track of China's tallest building announcements, the report concluded. Sky City did not become the world's tallest building as we now know. Construction was halted, there were delays, and the site was repurposed as a fish farm in 2015. Phoenix Towers were proposed for construction in Wuhan in 2014. One of the buildings was supposed to be 1 kilometer tall, but no mention of it after 2014 can be found. Nonetheless, the world's second tallest building, Shanghai Tower, was completed in 2015, and China appeared to be the safest bet for the next world's tallest building. However, the tide is turning in favor of large-scale construction. China made a complete 180-degree turn in 2021, banning the construction of new buildings taller than 500 meters and imposing height restrictions on structures taller than 250 meters. Statements also provided that uneconomical, unfunctional, non-aesthetically appealing, and non-environmentally friendly architecture shall be banned. But why the sudden shift? There are several reasons for this. For starters, China became known for its abnormal architecture, particularly copycat buildings that were designed to look like the Eiffel Tower or the White House. The Chinese government now prefers buildings that blend in with the city's architecture. The real estate market is also slowing down. According to Nikkei Asia, the vacancy rate for premium office space in Shenzhen has increased significantly over the last 2 years, while the vacancy rate in Beijing and Shanghai has also increased significantly. There are also ghost cities, which consist of endless rows of newly constructed high residential towers with no one living inside. According to Business Insider, China has enough vacant residential apartments to house France's entire population. However, one of the most pressing issues was health and safety. A fire broke out in a high-rise residential building in Shijiazhuang in March 2021, followed by another fire in a building in Dalian in August. In May, a 72-story building in Shenzhen began trembling and required evacuation. So who's left in the game now that China is out? Jeddah Tower in Saudi Arabia is the Burj Khalifa's main rival for the title of the world's tallest building. If completed, it will be the first building in the world to reach a height of 1 kilometer. However, construction on the structure has been halted since January 2018 when one of the building's main sponsors was arrested as part of a political purge. The Saudi government is the only one who knows what will happen to the project. Tower M and Tradewind Square are two of Malaysia's contenders. Tower M has not even begun and will not be completed for another decade, according to a statement released in 2018. If there is a demand, planning is unlikely to begin before 2035. According to 2020 sources, the Tradewind Square construction site is currently unoccupied. The Signature Tower in Jakarta was also proposed, but it was cancelled. The Sky Mile Tower in Tokyo was also proposed, but there have been no tangible developments in 10 years. This raises the question of what happened to the United States. Will there be any mega structures in New York or Chicago? Nobody wants to build them. That is the simple answer. Building projects in New York are simply more expensive than in the Middle East or Asia. The scarcity of land in the city also drives up development costs. Because of the time it takes to construct them, you may not see a return on your investment for over a decade. The COVID-19 pandemic has also made it difficult to profit from skyscrapers. The COVID-19 pandemic, as you might expect, has reduced the demand for office space. Because remote working is becoming more common, the demand for commercial real estate has slowed. It has also triggered a global recession, which means less money is available to fund these projects. Another important consideration is the impact of megatall buildings on their surroundings. Sure, the view from a megatall building is spectacular, but what about the structures nearby? These megatall skyscrapers frequently block out sunlight for nearby buildings and do not blend in with the city's overall aesthetic. Would you like to work in an office next to a 10-year-old construction site? Another pressing issue is that the skyscraper construction business is ultimately harmful to the environment. A typical skyscraper will at least double the carbon footprint of a 10-story building with the same floor area, according to Tim Snelson of the design consultancy Arup. This is due to the additional effort required for foundations and to prevent buildings from swaying. As a result, it appears that the upward trend in the construction may be coming to an end. Proposals for new megatall skyscrapers are being cancelled left and right, with some countries such as China outright prohibiting them. In your analysis, is it possible that the Burj Khalifa will still remain the world's tallest structure for many decades to come? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked and enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more insightful videos, get notified by clicking the bell button below. From the high-end stories of today, this has been Modern Luxury. As always, we look forward to seeing you again in one of our videos. Thanks for watching.